From my vantage point, it looks safely in the fairway.
World Class Leaderboard is a golf simulation game developed by brothers Bruce and Roger Carver in the 1980s. The two worked for Access Software and together developed an entire series of leaderboard games. The first game, simply titled Leaderboard, was published in '86, with World Class Leaderboard being released on DOS in 1988. The final game, World Class Leaderboard The Series, a compilation of World Class Leaderboard and the 3 expansions, was published in 1992 by KixXL. Though the Leaderboard series was fairly short-lived, the Carver brothers went on to characterize golf simulation games with their Link series in 1990. Despite releasing 8 games in the series, only 2 are available on Microsoft DOS, the only platform I actually own to run any of the games on. Other than DOS, World Class Leaderboard is available for Acorn 32-bit computers, Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Apple II computers, Atari ST, Commodore 64, Sega Game Gear, Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis for the Americans, iPhone, Macintosh, the Sega Master System, and the ZX Spectrum. Holy smokes, that's a lot of platforms, and from what I've seen so far, no 2 versions look quite the same. Fortunately, from what I've seen, the DOS version seems like one of the best of the bunch, so I think I'm going to stick with that. The base game has 4 courses: Cypress Creek and Doral Country Club, Florida, St. Andrews, Scotland, plus the Gauntlet Country Club, an ad hoc fictional course created to be the ultimate world-class golf challenge. On top of this, there are 3 famous Courses of the World expansions, which include an extra 10 courses, 3 in the first 2 and 4 in the last. Unfortunately, none of these expansions are in my possession, so I can only look into the original 4 courses. World Class Leaderboard was one of the first 2 games to utilize Access Software's patented RealSound technology, allowing for players to hear lifelike sounds and speech through their PC speakers without the need for a sound card. This technology was pretty incredible for its time, and the developers weren't hesitant to use it throughout the game. When you first launch the game, you're immediately greeted with tweeting and birdsong on the title screen, courtesy of RealSound. The technology is used well throughout the game and works effectively to set a good atmosphere for a game of golf. For example, the frog croaks and crickets as you're setting up your shot, and the short commentary clips used throughout your attempt at the hole.
Ooh, can't be too happy about that one.
On the title screen, you're given 2 options: Play Golf and Information. The Information option doesn't actually give you information about the game, credits, or the controls, what you might expect for an information button on a title screen to do. Instead, it plays a short audio clip advertisement of Access Software's Echelon, another game to make early use of RealSound.
Battle space pirates on the 10th planet Isis in Access Software's spaceflight simulation Echelon with RealSound.
Strange to put this as one of the only 2 options on the title screen, and also to label it so ambiguously as just information. Before starting the game, you can select the course you want to play by pressing Enter, then selecting either A, B, C, or D. Then you pick the number of players, enter a username, choose a difficulty, and finally select the number of holes you want to play before going on to the first tee. The game plays as you'd probably expect a classic golf game to play. Use the up and down arrows to select a club, the left and right to adjust the aim of your shot, then hold the spacebar to begin your backswing. This causes the power meter in the bottom right to begin to fill up, and the point the meter is at when the spacebar is released will determine the power of the shot. The more full the power meter is, the more powerful the shot will be, although continuing to hold space after the meter is full will cause your shot to be weaker. Once the power of the shot has been determined, the snap meter below will begin to fill up from the top down. This meter determines how straight the shot will be. Stopping the meter precisely on the centered line will result in a perfectly straight shot. Stopping too early will slice the shot to the left, and too late will send the shot to the right. As simple as this may sound, the snap meter makes it quite challenging to take a successful shot. Being as little as a single pixel off center can seriously punish you, sending your shot far out in a different direction. More often than not, being only 1 pixel off is still recoverable, but there's seriously about a single pixel buffer either side of center to be anywhere near where you're aiming for. That might sound insanely difficult, and at first, it is. But timing the snap correctly can be quickly improved with practice, and it soon became somewhat consistent for me to get near straight shots. Another thing to take note of while setting up a shot is the wind gauge just below center on the right of the screen. The wind direction is shown by the position which the darker red line is pointing, and the wind speed is shown by the height of the lighter red or pinkish vertical line. You only have to pay attention to the wind when playing on the hardest difficulty, Professional. Both the kids and amateur difficulties negate the effects of wind on your shot, despite the meter still being visible and functional throughout play. After taking a shot, you'll often be greeted by a sound clip of the spectators or from the commentators. My favourite commentary clips are from hitting a tree or landing in the bunker.
Looks like he hit the tree, Jim. No doubt about it, that's deep in the sand trap.
When taking a shot from the rough, your ball will fall shorter than a hit of the same power with the same club from the fairway. This is the same with bunkers, though you'll struggle to get much distance at all with clubs like the woods or the low irons. There's no option for a sand wedge in the game, so it's best to use either the pitching wedge or the 9-iron to escape the sand traps. If you happen to fall into a water hazard, then you simply have to retake the shot.
Ooh, can't be too happy about that one.
You also have the option to take a punch shot, which can be toggled by pressing P. A punch shot has very little loft and is intended for pitch and run shots onto the green, or for getting under trees when deep in the rough. Though I've never really found this to be quite successful.
Looks like he hit the tree, Jim.
You're better off using a 9-iron to get the ball over top the trees instead. When in closer range to the green, I normally have some difficulty determining what power level to use with the pitching wedge. It seems as though a pitch at half power goes nowhere near half the distance a pitch at full power does, causing me to often misjudge the required power level horrifically, falling miles short or miles ahead of the pin. Your ball can also collide with the flag, which can sometimes be punishing and send you further off the green. The interface changes slightly once onto the green, removing the snap meter and increasing the length of the power meter in its place. Each period on the power meter equates to about 8 feet of distance across the green. I regularly take my putts with a power level about half a bar over the required distance, since you frequently fall short putting the ball at the supposed exact power level. The slope of the green is shown by a blue line which is displayed over the game, the direction of the slope being shown by the direction of the line, and the slope intensity shown by the line length. This can be quite difficult to judge at times, but it's often sufficient to place your ball within a couple feet of the hole. If you manage to make a long putt, or pot the ball from off the green, you're congratulated with a crowd cheering and occasionally a sound clip from the commentator to accompany it.
Absolutely marvelous putt.
Just barely not making a putt will also result in a sound clip of the spectators. Not all of these game features are present for every difficulty the game offers. On the hardest difficulty, Professional, all of the features mentioned are enabled, but there's also an extra element of challenge when on the green. The power meter for the strength of your putt disappears after the first 8 feet, forcing you to estimate the point to release your spacebar and get the correct shot strength you desire. There's hardly any skill to this at all, it's just a guessing game, and a very hard one at that. This is far more difficult than the snap meter to get down even somewhat consistently. The power meter is all you have to get any sort of grasp of what your shot strength is going to be like. Making it invisible removes this ability entirely, making it almost pure guesswork to make a somewhat accurate putt. What's wrong with increasing the speed of the putting meter? That'd add challenge. Why make it invisible? In the other two difficulties, amateur being the medium one and kids being the easiest, the power meter for putting is fully visible. On top of this, the wind doesn't have an effect on the shot as I mentioned previously, and on the kids difficulty, the snap meter has no effect on the shot either, making it so that you can only hit exactly straight. Despite this, the game is still remarkably difficult. Even on the easiest difficulty, it's not rare to find myself way over par. I've no idea how Nick and Craig had the time to get so good. I don't think the difficulty spoils the game by any means, however. Perhaps professional is a little excessive, but I regularly find myself coming back to the game to play again and try and improve my scores. My biggest complaint about this game is actually to do with the user interface. For whatever reason, the developers seem to have been fairly big fans of unexpected menu features. Here's the first screen you're taken to after selecting Play Golf from the title screen. Although it appears as though this screen's only function is to select the number of players to start a new game, this menu has a lot more to offer. Just from pressing random buttons on my keyboard, I've found you can press escape to quit the game, press F6 to toggle the sound on and off, press F7 to toggle critter sounds, press F8 to toggle commentary, press F10 to view high scores for the selected course, press E to enter a course editor, press R to access the driving range, press I to toggle color intensity when using CGA graphics, press P to immediately start the game, press Enter to change the selected course, press D to watch a pre-recorded demo, press G to access a putting green, press H to practice a single hole from any course, press J to recalibrate or activate a joystick, press L to load a previous game, press Z to display the game version, press V to toggle the master volume, and press B to change the ball color. What the heck? How are you meant to know any of this from the user interface alone? Not all, but some of the functions are mentioned in the game documentation you can view in DOS, and it's likely some are mentioned in the game manual also, but unfortunately I don't have a manual in my possession, and I can't find a scan, for the DOS version at least, anywhere online. Some of these features are actually really useful, and it doesn't make sense to not have them listed anywhere on the interface, or in the game at all. Before I move on, there are some other accessible game features that aren't displayed in the game whatsoever. When in-game, you can use the P key to enable a punch shot, which I mentioned earlier. You can also use T to toggle an overhead map view of the hole, and R to reload the hole. When the scorecard appears between holes, you can press the S key, then select a number 0 through 9 to save your current game. You also need to press S to save your high score for a round when the rankings are shown after the 18th hole. Again, no idea why these features aren't even mentioned in the game at all. I took a brief glance at the course editor, but the user interface is extremely unintuitive, and I simply don't have the patience to sit down and figure it out. I was also slightly confused when using the driving range. At some point I noticed a plus 99 figure to the right of my shot counter. That typically displays how much over or under par you are, but how can I be 99 over par on a driving range? Other than slight little mishaps like this. Seriously, I clearly landed in the bunker there. I have nothing more negative to say about this game. In conclusion, do I think you should get World Class Leaderboard? Hell yes. This game is surprisingly addictive, despite the difficulty level. It isn't too big of a deal anyway, as you always have the option to play on kids or amateur difficulties. Personally, I'd recommend amateur. And the accessible features not shown on the GUI aren't fundamental for playing and enjoying the game. It's not too much of an issue, provided you note down or simply remember all of the keys and their functions. It stops being problematic as soon as you familiarize yourself with this. Although majorly outdated now, the real sound technology was incredible for its time, and as a result of this, the commentary clips and crowd reactions are one of my favourite things about the game. The driving range and putting green offer for good practice for both your short and long game, as well as having the ability to play a specific hole from any course. World Class Leaderboard is a great deal of fun, even today, and is definitely worth spending your money on and giving a try.
From my vantage point, it looks safely in the fairway.